Welcome to Sermons on the Side. I'm Brad.
And I'm Richard.
And life can move pretty fast, so we're here to slow down, dig deep, and find the story hidden in everyday moments.
With years spent in ministry, friendship, and navigating real life together, we're all about blending humor, honesty, and faith into conversations that meet you right where you are.
So whether you're brand new or you're back for more, we are so glad you are here.
So relax, listen in, and let's discover meaning together.
In the ordinary, the messy, and everything in between.
Sermons on the Side, finding meaning in the everyday.
And listen, the best part about it, guys, I can eat whatever I want. Literally, I eat 3,000 calories a day, every single day.
Okay.
3,000 calories.
Now I'm interested.
Now
I'm interested.
All right. Let's go back to that running plan you were talking about.
Is it clicking a little bit
my
now?
attention.
I'm just laughing at the fact that a man just told me he's lazy and undisciplined. He's run 32 different marathons in different states.
Well,
Just saying that's not
we
the
have
choice of words.
wildly different definitions of undisciplined and lazy.
Gosh, that's good.
And welcome back to another episode of Sermons on the Side.
That's it. You are here.
That's
You
it.
found
That's
us.
it. That's the
You-
intro. That's
it.
all
See,
you got.
You know what?
Welcome to June, everybody.
what we do.
It's the first week. Summer is here. The
That's
heat
it.
index is up,
Lord help us.
and it's going to be awesome. Richard, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great. I want to just thank everybody for finding us, for clicking on the play button, and sharing this time with us. It's going to be a cool episode.
Yep. And speaking of sharing, we always appreciate everybody who shares an episode with a friend or with a family member that's meaningful to you. And we hope that this episode specifically,
Especially this.
you will share, because we are sitting with an incredible guest, Mr. Jason Dennis. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. I mean, that was a great intro. I mean,
Thank you.
You guys are the professionals here.
Oh,
This is
stop it.
this is scary because I don't know. Nobody sees what's going on, and now I'm being viewed, and I'm getting all nervous, man.
You're
You know what I'm
the
saying?
only one wearing shorts here.
Dude, it's hot. I don't know.
That's it. Well, like you said, summer has arrived.
Yeah, that's
It is
right.
here.
Summer has
Yes.
arrived. But Jason, Dennis, thank you for being with us.
Yeah, no problem at all. I'm on my dinner break, and you guys are great. I mean, I love Sermons on the Side. I've been listening to you, and I think, on the side, I think about like when I'm ordering at a restaurant.
Yeah,
like
come on.
like I'd like my salad with the ranch dressing on the side.
That's right.
The salad is just plain by itself. The salad's decent. But with the ranch dressing, it's like, whoo, man!
He's preaching.
You can put as much as you want on there.
That's exactly right.
Jason, you get us.
Yes,
You
yes.
just get
the
us.
bacon on the side, the cheese on the side, the ranch on the side. Give me the sermon on the side.
that's right.
too,
Side.
man. Well, we are so pumped. We're gonna laugh. We're going to talk a little bit about your background and your story. But before we dive in, I have a question. Have you been to a Clingstones game yet?
I went to the very first game. We actually covered. We went to the inaugural game for the Columbus Clingstones, our Braves AA team, and it was great. I need to go back. I live in Midland though, so I'm like, it's a little bit of a drive to get down to Synovus Park and all that. But I think it's great. I mean, because I'm a huge Braves fan. I was a fan in the '80s when they were like awful.
The powder blue dark days.
And they were last place.
Yes.
Dale Murphy's one of my sports heroes. But
Should be in the Hall of Fame. by the way.
yeah. But the Clingstones and the name, I think, is kind of coming around a little bit. The Stones.
That's
See,
right.
I'm so glad you brought that up because we have a lot of our listeners that are not from Columbus, Georgia area. And so we talked about the Clingstones last
couple
month,
episodes ago. Yeah.
and about some gear. Did you score some Clingstone's gear?
Well,
I got a killer hat.
I went and bought it just like everybody else. I got a hat. I got a T-shirt. I haven't gotten the jersey yet because I'm a cheapskate. So spending $90 or $100 on something, I feel like that it has to be like a steak meal or something.
Right,
I don't know.
There you go.
But what happens is our listeners who are from parts unknown, from other states or other countries. We
that's
got
right.
a few listeners, internationally. But they're like, anytime we talk about Columbus-related things, we try to make sure we explain ourselves. And we heard back last month from a couple of our listeners when we were talking about my Clingstones hat, and they're like, "What is a Clingstone?"
Is a Clingstone.
All right, who wants to field that question for our listeners?
It's a type of peach.
Isn't it? It's peach related, is it not?
Yeah, and it's the kind of peach that clings to the pit. So it's hard to pull off. And so they're saying that the Clingstones as a team, they will be really clinging to our community. Oh, so that's what the whole idea was.
Wow.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why he gets paid the big bucks.
That's right.
Wow, that's right. Oh, I love it. So yeah, Clingstone, it's a type of peach. There's all sorts of different types, but the Clingstones are our team. I've been to several games, man, and I love it. It's a beautiful park. I remember as a kid going to Red Sticks games.
Yeah.
And in that same park, it was called Golden Park.
Golden Park, yeah.
Yeah.
And so seeing it revitalized and having AA baseball back in Columbus, or in Columbus rather, for the first time is very special.
Indeed.
And,
now, Brad, I have a question for you. Really, in keeping with that, let's explain ourselves to folks who are not from Columbus.
Yeah.
Can you give us just a little bit of background about how Jason Dennis is just such a cool part of our community here locally?
Absolutely.
And all the more reason why it's such a blessing to have
Well,
him
outside
sitting
of
with
the
us
fact
tonight.
that before we went live, we realized that we're distantly related.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, you're my wife's brothers, girlfriends, pets,
Sisters,
uncles,
nephews,
sisters, brother.
That's right.
Practically blood.
Step brother. You're
Yeah,
right.
that's right.
Okay. No. I'm just I'm gonna run through this. I hope I got this right. Now you tell me yes or no, but there is a question at the end of all this. Okay.
I'll correct you.
Okay. Thank you. Wow, I'm nervous. Okay. Jason Dennis, everybody, is a Texan.
Oh yeah, I was born in
Texas.
Yeah, that's right.
Raised in North Carolina.
Correct.
Went to school in North Carolina.
Yep.
And you started this broadcasting journalism career in West Virginia.
That's right.
Wow.
Mountain Mama,
That's right.
Take me home. I'm sorry. Every time I hear West Virginia, I start singing John Denver music.
That's good.
Can we edit that out?
No, we're keeping it in.
Probably
Take
should.
me home. No.
Yes. Now, see, if he sings, we're keeping it in. We're editing
Good
Richard out. So after your stint in West Virginia, you came down to the East Alabama area, and then you spent a little bit of time. I don't know if you know this, Richard, in Birmingham, in Richard's neck of the woods.
Yeah.
Now, did you guys stay?
I was at Fox 6 from 2004 to 07.
Oh no, I was there in 2010.
Yeah, we lived in Helena, which is a little
stop it.
suburb.
Yeah.
Yeah, there. Yeah.
Beham strong.
Okay,
Yeah.
so there was never any overlap.
No,
but
there was
all right.
not.
But anyway, so after Birmingham, you came back to the East Alabama kind of Columbus area, and you've never left.
No, I've been here with WTVM, which is our the number one TV station in town for 20. Let's see if I can do the math right. Probably about 23 of the last 26 years.
Wow.
Go
here.
ahead.
So I've been in the business for 26 years, and I'm almost 50 years old. So,
That's unbelievable, man. So can you tell us just a little bit about that journey, maybe like how you arrived here, a cool God moment, or maybe why you stayed in Columbus, or can you just tell us a little bit about that journey?
Well, going back real quick, we were talking about sports earlier and about the Braves. I was a huge sports fan growing up. I mean, I loved basketball, especially being from North Carolina. I'm a big Michael Jordan guy and Tar Heels. And
Hey,
could
could I?
Sure.
I'm sorry. Dad jokes. We speak that as a second language. So you bring up the North Carolina Tar Heels. I have a friend that's a passionate Heels fan, and he has a phrase, and he said, time wounds, all heals. I don't know if you would.
Never heard that.
Okay, yeah. Time wounds,
but
all
I,
heals.
but I can tell you, there's a quick little chant or song is Duke is puke, wake is fake, state is the one I hate. Can't go to heaven in a red canoe because God's favorite color is Carolina blue. I mean, the sky. I mean, wow.
I love it.
I mean, Duke is
Thank
puke.
you.
You know.
Thank you.
There you have it.
Apologize for
No,
an interruption that took us that way.
You guys are in charge. I'm just here. I'm just your assistant.
I know. I love it.
But
so
you
huge sports fan.
passionate about sports.
Passionate sports fan, and I felt like God was just putting it on my heart. He gives you the desires of your heart as you seek Him. And so I wanted to be a sportscaster. I was like talking about sports on TV for a living and getting paid for it.
What's
that
better?
Seems like a dream job. And so
cool.
I went to college and I wanted to tell stories that impact. But when I got to college, I think God kind of directed me immediately to do news instead, because sports, it's great to be a fan, but you're telling the same stories about the same people. You're giving highlights, and it's not really. It's very, you're not like impacting like affecting people's lives. So I wanted to do news, and so that's kind of what I did. And my journey took me to a small place in West Virginia. And then back here, and actually Columbus, Georgia, where I've ended up for the last couple of decades, is because my wife, she's from Columbus. She grew up here till she was 9 or 10 years old, and so and you guys know this well: happy wife, happy life.
Come on, brother.
And so God has taught me that over and over again. And so we ended up down here, and she's got a lot of family down here, and it's been great. And that's kind of my story of kind of how I ended up in Columbus. And just been able to do some amazing things. God has flung open door after door. I am blessed beyond measure with my career, with my family, and just things I just don't deserve. I feel like, just grace has just abounded. And I feel like, like the Spider-Man movie, with great power comes great responsibility.
That's right.
Is that what it is?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
I feel like because I've been given so much, that I feel like that I owe it to God, to the world, to my friends, to my family, to give back and to be a blessing for others and be kind, because we're in such a dark world that I feel like, and the media gets a bad rap as well. And so I feel like that, if I'm kind, maybe that'll stick out a little bit, you know?
That is really cool.
Man, I love that. And I just, you mentioned being blessed and by your family. And I was just thinking to myself, how blessed is Columbus that every night at 6 and then again at 10 and 11 and then 12 or however many times it is.
6, 10, and 11?
Is it 6, 10, and 11?
5, 6, 10, 11. So,
5, 6, 10,
so
11.
on a normal, if I'm working all week, Monday through Friday, I'll do about 20 newscasts. And so it's a lot of time on TV, but it's great. And it's weird because I tell young people this all the time, and you guys get this with the podcast. Podcasts are very it's very informal. We're like hanging out, we're just chatting.
Yeah.
A lot of times people feel like in any job, whether you're a teacher, a broadcaster, a lawyer, a janitor, whatever, if you feel like you have to maybe meet a certain standard or be a certain way, but if you are just yourself and just, kind of are comfortable in your own skin and in yourself, that's the best lesson in life, is to just, and if you can do that, I mean, that's the secret sauce, is just to kind of be just, and so my first job in TV in West Virginia, I was, kind of filling in on the anchor desk, and as a young, 22-year-old punk, and I really was, and I was kind of like, "Good evening, thanks for joining us tonight," and my boss pulled me to the side and says, "Listen, don't be an anchor. Be Jason Dennis." And that was
that's good.
That was and that's I mean, it's like God reaching down and talking to me. It's like it's revolutionary, because we don't sometimes give ourselves permission to be who we are, or sometimes we don't even know, who we are,
Yeah.
and that's such a big deal. So
Man, that's so good.
Such clutch advice at a critical time.
yeah.
I feel like there's a listener right now that just needed to hear that encouragement.
Come on now.
God created exactly one of you and knew that the world around you needed you to act and be just as you are designed to be. And so have that confidence, have that encouragement to just don't pretend to be somebody else. Be exactly who God's called you to be. Man, that's so good.
Love that. Hey, also, if I could go back to your college days. I think you said it was during your college years that shift took place.
Yeah.
Where like all along you were thinking sportscasting.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was during the college years that you saw the shift happen.
Oh, yeah.
Where you knew it sounds like you felt like that the calling really or the impact that you truly desired to have would be better fleshed out in news as opposed to sports. Was that a tough decision for you? Was it a letting go, or did you get motivated by the possibilities?
Well, I got motivated, and because in college, me and a friend also, because in college you can get away with whatever. So we had our.
I have no idea what you're talking.
We had our local.
That'll be a whole nother episode.
Well, that too. But so now we did me and a friend, we decided to do a sports show in college just to have fun. And we called it the J&J Sports Extravaganza, Jason and Jeff. And we did it as a weekly call-in show for 3.5 years. And it was just, and so like to this day, I've been in news for 25 years, and the other Jay has been a meteorologist for 25 years.
That is
You're
cool.
talking sports for 3.5 years in college, but one's in news and one's in weather.
Because we
Wow.
knew that we were going to enter the real world. We were like, okay, well, this is our chance to kind of live out a little bit of our dream of talking about
that's a good
sports.
point.
But that doesn't have to be our career path, because there are fewer jobs too in sports. I mean, there are fewer jobs, and so news, you have a better opportunity. But in college too, yeah, it was early on that I said, okay, I'm going to go down this news path. But also it was interesting. Maybe in high school and college, some too, and even 10 years into my career, I felt God, like, is God calling me into the ministry?
Okay.
I felt this call, like, And I kept praying about it and thinking about it. I was like, am I being selfish in doing this broadcasting thing that I feel like I want to do and I enjoy doing, and it's pretty cool to be recognized with that kind of stuff. But then, every time I had this inkling, like, God, do you want me to do something in the ministry and leave this, comfortable or job that I'm used to? He would send a neon sign to me and say, you're right where I want you to be. And he would make it so like clear, like crystal clear. And he would fling open doors and promotions and raises and
Thank you,
and
Lord.
and what he was telling me was that, like, the platform that you have in being on television and giving the news, I can't say Jesus is king on a newscast, but I can say it on a newscast, or off a newscast. But the platform he's given me, I can talk about my faith and share about it. And we live in the Bible Belt, so we can get away with a little more than if I lived in, say, Connecticut.
Fair enough.
So so that was a tug as well in college and beyond, that like and even I've had a pastor in Birmingham, in fact, and that he handed out a coin to everybody in this kind of, it was a pretty big sized church, a coin, and it said on it, marketplace minister. And that he made all of us, and he talked about how the fact that, like, listen, we as a pastor and a team, we do have our jobs that are important, but what you guys are doing in the trenches is more important, because you're in the marketplace and you are marketplace ministers. And so that's just, I get confirmation time and time again that, like, I'm where God wants me to be. And, opportunities to kind of get on podcasts like this and just talk about God and what he's done for me. And you never know who's going to hear it or how it's going to touch their lives.
Gosh, that's so good. Yeah, I would. You're reminding me of something that a mutual friend of ours just recently posted on Facebook. It's a pastor in town. You've interviewed him, Gabriel Pagan.
Yeah, Gabriel Pagan. Yeah, I think it's pagan. I think as in like pagan,
Which is great, because everything about this guy's story, maybe including the pronunciation of his name, is God redeeming, and reaching people through it. So he's Pastor Gabe now. They've recently started a church, and he posted something just recently about how we have to be careful if we're hungry to find our voice, because that can become about us, as opposed to let's find our place where God wants us.
That's good.
And trust that that's part of him speaking through us. So we're going to find our voice, but only when we're yielded to him and we allow him to guide us. I am fascinated by that part of your story. I didn't know that some of the stuff you just went over. Boom, blowing me away. Thank you.
I had a mentor years ago tell me, spread the gospel with everybody that you meet, and if necessary, use words.
Yeah.
And I think back to just how you're talking about being blessed, and I just know how blessed our community is every single night, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Every single time Jason Dennis is on the screen, you know, you might not be preaching the gospel. You might not be reading off a Bible verse, but your presence and, more importantly, your testimony and your reputation precede you on those newscasts. And the Lord ministers. And it's incredible, man. And we're very honored that you're here, and we're very honored that you would spend some time with us.
Well, definitely, I appreciate it. I mean, it's an honor to be able to do this job, or a privilege, I guess I would call it, to be able to do what I do. And it's a little strange sometimes when you're at the grocery store or at a restaurant with your family and you're recognized by people. But I call that job security, and I try to be nice, and I try to like engage with them. And some people, you know, kind of do a double take, and they think you're the weather guy or the whatever else. And but it's pretty cool. I mean, like, you know, it's good. You know, it's flattering, and I think, well, that's good that they're watching, but also, you know, as Christians and as a newscaster, you're under the microscope. You know, because I'm well known, I'm a quote local celebrity. I'm under the microscope, so anything I do is scrutinized, good or bad. So that's you know, something where I have to be careful. Like I don't talk about politics on a public, sphere or whatever. But again, because of where we live, I can talk about faith and religion. Yeah. Because, you know, there's a church on every corner, and I think it's part of our culture. And I'm not bashing people. I'm just saying, listen, God is love, and let's spread love, you know?
So good.
So awesome. Well, that's a little bit about Jason Dennis, the newscaster and broadcaster. Can you tell us a little bit about Jason Dennis, the podcaster, and this incredible podcast that talks about your faith, your fitness journey? Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Sure. You know, it's a very interesting story because I was this goes back to when I started running. I don't know. Do you guys run or go to the gym? Or
hey, I mean, if somebody's chasing me,
see, I always hear that. I thought that was going to be. No, you're only the 17th person that I've ever heard say that. So yes. No. So I grew up playing basketball, tennis, other sports, and I became a sports fan. So I played sports. So running was always punishment for the sport, right? Yeah. Growing up, right?
Yeah.
It was punishment. You go run sprints. They call it suicides in basketball.
Oh, yeah.
And so, long story short, I started, you know, because I would gain, 25 pounds, and I'd want to lose it. So over the course of 2 or 3 months, I do these diets and lose 25 pounds and then go back up. And so this yo-yo back and forth. And so I decided, well, I need to do something that's going to help me where I can eat. And so I started running at age 37 and ran my first marathon at age 40. But when I was running and doing these long distance run-ins by myself, I was listening to podcasts, and I started listening. And I would, and God literally put it on my heart saying, do a podcast.
Oh,
So I was like, God, okay, first of all, I don't have the time. I don't have the equipment. There's no way.
2 very large portions of having a podcast.
Right. Time, equipment. Do people really want to hear what I have to say? All that stuff. And so literally the running started, the podcast thing. I was like, okay, I'll just put this to the side. Thank you, Lord, for the feedback on that. So that's what we do a lot, right? We just put it on a shelf, and we're like, I'll come back to that book later on.
That's right.
And so fast forward maybe 6 months later, God's like, okay. And so our company 6 years ago said, we're going to start going into the podcast realm. And so we have all this equipment. We have the audio boards. We have all this stuff. We have the platform of WTVM. And if you have an idea, we want you to present it and we want you to start. So I said, oh boy, okay, this is God. Literally,
that is so cool.
Literally providing the equipment, providing the overhead, providing everything. Right. And I said, okay, well, I love fitness. I love faith. I can marry the two together. And this podcast is called Run the Race,
That's right.
which is in part based on the verse in Hebrews, which is about finishing the race, persevering, finishing strong, chasing after Jesus. That's the real finish line. Yes. Or it's the journey too. And so, so I've been doing that since then. And so that's kind of how it all started. And it's just conversations with people talking about anything fitness related, anything faith related. And ideally it's a guest that can talk about both, because the two really are kind of interchangeable, because with running there's such a mental health aspect to it, and with faith there's such a a physical aspect to that as well. And so I think for me it's been great. I mean, and I don't make any extra money off of it. I do it as part of my job. It comes under the WTVM heading. I treat it like a ministry. I pray at the end of every single episode, and my bosses don't tell me you can't talk about Jesus, you can't pray. They just kind of let me do it, and because I'm not, I'm not hurting people, with what I'm saying, so it's been great. I just thank God that I'm able to continue to do it.
And when did you start? Do you remember? Was it?
It was November of 2019, right before the pandemic, and then COVID sparked a lot of podcasting, because a lot of people are locked in their houses or they're social distancing, and they're like, okay, well, how can I have an impact? And so that's kind of how it all started, and so that's and still going strong. So
gosh, that's amazing. We've actually enjoyed listening to your podcast, and what we're going to do is we're going to link to your podcast, Running the Race, run the race.
Run the race. I mean, that can mean a lot of things. I mean, people think it's about running, but it's about running the race of life, and about there's so many different meanings, because we're all trying to run a good race, and that that has a lot of meaning. And with faith, I mean, geez, we are always striving and failing and striving, and so.
Oh, the analogy! I mean, it's just perfect. And of course, multiple times in the New Testament of Scripture, the writers make that connection. But as I said, what we're going to do, we're hoping that some sermons on the side listeners will check out your podcast.
Yeah, so you absolutely need to, because Jason, we've found that this is kind of one of the more difficult hills, is just trying to reach people, It's like, I had no idea for the last 5.5 years that you have had this podcast. And on a whim, a friend of mine reposted, hey, I just got interviewed by Jason Dennis on his podcast. And I was like, what? And so I go and I listen to it. And dude, it was just, I was so encouraged.
Yes.
I was absolutely blown away. And I think I texted Richard that day, and I was like, bro, we got to get Jason on the podcast for no other reason than just to learn from him, because he's been doing this and he's a little bit further down the race, the running of the podcasting
I see what
race.
You did there.
All right.
And you make the check out to Jason Dennis?
Okay, no, it's not WRB.
Is that 2 N's in Dennis?
2 N's, man with two first names. There you go.
That's awesome. No, but guys, check it out. It'll be linked in the bottom of this episode in the show notes. Run the Race. You need to check it out. It's got an incredible backlog of tons of options. Go click on any of them and you will be blessed.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, I appreciate that plug. Thank you very much.
I was going to reference one of your recent episodes from earlier this year. And it just really, to me, it encapsulates the heart and the spirit of what you're doing. And it was just this really brief episode. You didn't have a guest. You weren't interviewing anybody. But it was right around your birthday. In fact, I think the episode dropped on your birthday earlier this year.
Yeah.
And you just took 15, 20 minutes, whatever, and just talked about some of the high points of your journey over the years, from childhood on, and shared your heart. And there was just something that you kept saying over and over again in that episode that really meant something to me. You said, yeah, it's my birthday. you said it before, so I'm not. You said 59. This young guy.
49.
He's 49 years old. You're gonna edit that, right?
No. Don't, you don't need to edit that. No. You're talking about your age.
Dang it. Actually, I am, because I just turned 60.
That's awesome.
All right.
Hey,
Yeah.
our love language around here
that's
is
okay.
Jane.
Listen. We don't need to edit that out. We need to.
That is too good.
I don't look a day over 58. I know.
No, you don't. You don't. You look great for 58. No, but seriously.
All right, so he was turning
flushed.
69. All right, here we go.
I'm so frustrated with myself.
He was turning 79. Here we go.
And he said no, but he kept saying, "Look, it's my birthday." But he said, "It's not about me."
Yeah.
He kept saying, "My birthday, yeah, I'll get some love. Folks are gonna take me out to eat with the fam or whatever, and I'll get a lot of shout outs and posts on Facebook." But he just kept saying, "It's not about me." Because my birthday is just another day to mark the faithfulness of God in my story.
Oh, wow.
And I love that. And the reason I wanted to bring it up was so that I could really fumble your age in front of everybody.
It's awesome.
Tens and tens of listeners.
Well, it's just on the side. It's just on the side.
It's on the side.
I mean, dude,
He's so good. Is he good?
he's batting 1,000. He's going into the sermons on the side.
I'm going to be in the
Hall of Fame.
Klingstones roster next week.
That is it. But seriously, man, it showed. I mean, that to me, it just tells who you are, right?
Yeah.
that's great.
And that has been just saturated in your telling of your story tonight. You're talking about your career and how God has opened doors for you.
Yeah.
And about that awesome podcast.
Yeah. Well, it was, that episode, it was actually a lie because it is actually all about me. No, I'm just kidding. No, I mean, I'm just, we talked about how, God's been so faithful, but also like, the people that he puts in our lives, like my wife, we're about to celebrate 25 years. I mean, she has saved me from myself. On probably, 950 occasions, and so, without her, I feel like that I would just fall into a pit or something. I don't know. I wouldn't be alive, perhaps. I don't know. So, because, God puts people in your life for reasons that we sometimes don't know. And so I'm just amazed, her and my kids, and just, that's why it's just like, I want to talk about him more, and the verse in Proverbs, my favorite verse, acknowledge him in all thy ways, and he will make your path straight. And so I want to acknowledge him, and that he is everything that happens. And sometimes, we all trip up, and we all we get the ego, and we kind of applaud ourselves, and we want a little pat on the back, and that's the flesh. But I think that, sometimes he also humbles us and brings us back to the reality of listen, it's not about you.
That's right. Gosh. Man, that's so good, man.
Good stuff.
Good.
You have blessed us by being with us.
Thank you so much.
Episode. We are excited to see have our listeners who weren't already aware of your podcast, and hopefully give a listen.
Yeah.
You might even get you might mobilize the Sermons on the Side family to start running.
Yeah. So you guys, maybe
It
you
could
guys,
happen.
y'all want to come run with me sometime, or like
I'm afraid that I would drag you down.
a 5K, a half marathon, or
I'm okay with a 5K. I truly and honestly, I need to get into it. And so I could use some accountability. Get me on a running plan, Jason.
One last question,
Yes, sir.
as it relates to your running. You are on a quest, and it's to run a marathon in all 50 states. Is that right?
yep, that's it.
59
Whoa.
states? Seriously.
59
I'm just hung up on
states.
that number.
Well, you're about to add Canada, I think, aren't we?
Wait, we promised we wouldn't go political.
That's right. Yeah,
darn it.
exactly. Yeah.
Seriously. So
Wait, so how many states are you? Yeah.
Where you at? in the
I
quest?
am 32 states in.
No way.
So I started at age 40, my first marathon, and then so I've picked up the pace a little bit. I was doing 3 or 4 a year. I did 6 marathons in 6 different states last year. I'm planning to do the same this year, and so Yeah, I did Chicago last year, which was great. But and I've taken what's been like for me, it's been obviously getting to see America and getting to kind of, eat really good food after a marathon. But what's been cool for me is my family's been with me on several of these trips. My son, who is a senior at the University of Georgia, go Dogs.
Go Dogs. Who? Tried to get that in there. Sorry about
that. So we
just lost half our listener base. Sorry about that.
War Eagle, Roll Tide, all that stuff.
Yeah, all of it.
So he has been on with about 5 or 6 different trips to bigger cities with me on these marathons, and it's been great father-son trips before he goes off into the world. And he's been to Seattle with me, Salt Lake City, Houston, and some other big cities. And it's been really cool because we've been, kind of together, and he runs the 5K, I'll run the marathon, which people don't know that are listening. It's 26.2 miles. And it's a pretty long way. And I never imagined that was going to be my reality. I just wanted to start running and do a 5K. And then it just kind of, things just kind of happen, and you're like, oh, okay, well, I'm here now. And so, and for me, I don't know if you guys are like this or not. I'm kind of lazy and undisciplined in some ways, especially with exercise. And so I need to have a big challenge to go after, like a carrot, to be able to kind of stick with a plan. And so instead of just like go run this, I said, well, like I'm going to go run a marathon in all 50 states, and it's going to take me about 10 to 15 years. And so that's kind of kept me, and plus I'm at my age. I mean, I feel like I'm in good shape, and my body's holding up. And listen, the best part about it, guys, I can eat whatever I want. Literally, I eat 3,000 calories a day, every single day.
Okay.
3,000 calories.
Now I'm interested.
I'm interested. All right. Let's go back to that running plan you were talking about.
Is it clicking a little bit my attention.
I'm just laughing at the fact that a man just told me he's lazy and undisciplined. He's run 32 different marathons in different states.
Well, that's not the choice of words.
Wildly different definitions of undisciplined and lazy.
Oh, that's so good. Gosh, that's good. Jason, thank you again. Listen, to transition towards, as we wrap up the podcast, and a lot of our episodes, in fact, most of our episodes, we end with some sort of a segment, which has a little comedy of real life comedy, really, where we'll talk about hot takes or something like that. We're going to do something different tonight.
Okay. I'm ready.
And we did not warn you about this. It's actually...
You're going to talk about your Braves cup that you have to have it's set up right down the middle.
The cup is
right down the middle. Oh,
Jason
boy.
is now seeing the cup.
I've heard that on episode number 13 of Sermons on the Side.
Oh, my goodness.
Knows the number.
I mean, just off the top of the dome.
Golly, that's amazing. He's just such a pro.
I mean, like it's like, it's from Good Friday, right? The cup. Yeah.
Yes.
There you go. See?
Was that too?
I'm sorry to interrupt.
No,
we're about to do a hot take.
No, we won't. We just, we're
check price just went up. I'm kidding.
Tear that one up and write a new one. So, since you're one of our guests, we're gonna rattle off rapid fire questions that we're just gonna ask you to answer off the top of your head. First thing, or most accurate thing that comes to your mind. We call it no huddle. Because you really don't have time to call a play.
Sure.
You just gotta run it.
Ooh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? Jason, Dennis, what's the worst job you've ever had in your whole life?
Strawberry picker.
Ooh.
In Hendersonville, North Carolina.
Oh,
yep.
boy.
Yep.
And what season of the year is strawberry picking?
I don't even remember.
I'm saying, was it hot? That's what I'm saying.
It was kind of hot. Yeah.
Still,
summertime.
Ooh. Okay, great.
And we were spraying like stuff to make sure the strawberries were good. I don't know, something like that. Wow. But yeah, that was a job.
Ooh, I hear you.
Yeah.
Okay, now this is a Bible character question, and you can't answer by saying Jesus. Okay. But is there one Bible character other than Christ himself that resonates the most with you in your faith journey, or maybe just right now? Basically, who's your favorite Bible character?
Goliath.
Go. That's an answer we've never had on
Caught you off
Sermons
guard.
on-
He was a big guy. I loved him. Goliath,
Love the attitude,
was killing everybody.
He was lazy and undisciplined.
That's right. No, I on the other end of that, I would say David.
Yeah.
David, yeah. I mean, because when the chips were down, I mean, he talks about a heart after God. I mean, that's what we all, especially as men, we strive to have that heart. And we're gonna fall. We're gonna do stupid things. We're gonna sin. We don't have permission to. It doesn't give us permission just to go around being sin. But David, was a character that was a man that was flawed severely, but he was used mightily, and that's for me. I mean, that's great. I see people on the news and people that are on the street, and you never know how God's going to use them. The ones, the ordinary people that will do extraordinary things, and so that's David.
Oh, thank you very much. Okay, Jason, cat person or dog person?
Oh, dog for sure.
Oh, that's the right answer.
Yes.
He's a Christian.
Yes, thank you very much.
Well, we have Christian dogs too.
Now,
so.
earlier, thank
All
you,
dogs
Lord.
go to heaven. Cats. Okay, here we go. Keep it going.
You talk about losing half our listeners. We're just burning
I
it
didn't
down.
say
here.
it.
Go dogs.
Okay, so earlier, very briefly, we were singing a John Denver song. Guy's got some pipes.
Oh,
He's got
cool.
a good voice.
What?
So you
no.
can carry it too, and you can unload it. It's really good, man. So song choices. What are do you have a favorite worship song that you like to listen to, or maybe sing in church or anything like that? You got a worship song that really pops for you?
It's interesting. I grew up in Baptist, Methodist, Presbyterian churches, a little more formal and, stand up, sit down and kind of hymnals. But my wife is a PK, a preacher's kid. And so I started going to Assembly of God churches, Pentecostal with her, which is a little different than what I was used to. And
That's
different worship
to put
songs.
it mildly.
Different.
He said a little different.
A little different.
It's
Yes.
a lot different.
Yes.
Y'all. Anyway,
Yes.
go ahead.
And different songs too. Worship is a little more sometimes lively, and you're encouraged to talk back to the pastor, raise your hands and stuff. Well, there's a worship leader. I don't think he's still in Texas. Israel Houghton. Who,
Oh, yes.
So, who is like the Lord? Nobody. Who is like the Lord? No, nobody. If our God is for us. So I like, I like those kind of songs.
Oh, that's so good.
That's so
And he
good.
rendered it. Man, great job. I don't know if people knew this guy was sitting on this kind of voice.
Yeah.
All right. So if you could, this is a superhero related question. Comic books, movies.
Sure.
If you could have one superpower, what would you choose?
Wow. Fly.
Oh,
Yeah,
there you
yeah.
go.
Superman.
Good
Superman.
one.
Yeah. Iron Man, Superman. Yeah.
yeah.
I think fly. I think,
Gotta
because.
love that.
Yeah. So, because I think to get somewhere fast. I think
Yeah,
that's good.
skipping TSA. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Exactly.
There you go. Okay, final question. If you could imagine, you have 2 children.
Yes.
Is that right? So if
that
you-
I know of.
Got to go back to West Virginia, North Carolina.
All right, there you go. So,
They're 21 and 22.
Oh,
Olivia
that's
and
awesome.
Zach. I'll shout them out here.
wonderful. There you go. So, if you could imagine one or both of them being, like if your kids were being interviewed by someone and they were asked this question, tell us about your dad, what would be something you would hope that they would say?
I would hope they would say that I'm loving and down to earth, because for me, because I've worked this night shift for pretty much all their lives working in TV. And so because of that, there's a delicate balance. My wife works day shift, I work night shift. And so you really have to really intentionally spend time.
Gotcha.
Dinner breaks, weekends, things are very protected. I've protected that family time. And it's not easy. And so for me, just being present and being around and being in their lives and caring about what they do, what they don't do, and also like not being judgmental. Like sometimes we catch ourselves, we want to, discipline or tell our kids that's not right. But sometimes, I've learned sometimes through hard times, and that you need to take your foot off the gas as a dad, as a mom, whatever. And sometimes just take your foot off the gas as a type A personality person, and just let them, and just tell them that I love you and I'm here for you, and that's it. There's no strings attached to that. And so for me, that's what I would hope they would say about me.
Oh gosh, thank you for sharing your heart that way. That's, by the way, some loaded nuggets of wisdom for those of us with children that are a little older and have transitioned into adulthood. But thank you for sharing your heart all throughout, including with those no huddle questions.
Yeah, those are great
Appreciate
questions.
that.
Yeah,
thank you, sir.
Well, folks, that wraps what is episode 20 of Sermons on the Side. And I tell you what, man, that was awesome. Jason, thank you so much for being here. Yeah. You have blessed me. I know you've blessed Richard. I know you've blessed our listeners. And man, this was awesome. So thank you very much.
Yeah, happy to be part of the ranch dressing for the salad.
That's right, baby. Come on.
That's what we call a circle back.
That's right. That's right. Hey, if this episode blessed you as much as it blessed us, then send it to a friend, send it to a family member, and let's all be blessed, and let's all make sure that we are running the race that the Lord has set before us with faith, with endurance, and with just the right enough amount of humor along the way, right?
Indeed. Thank y'all again. We'll talk to you next week. Jason,
good job, guys. All right,
that was
Stop
so
it.
much fun.
Awesome job,
You just
guys.
kept coming
Awesome
with the
job,
gold,
guys.
right? I mean, it was just
So good, dude.
Hey,
You guys did great.
Do you mind putting the headphones back on?
Oh yeah. Are we taking a picture?
All right, thank you.
Cool. All right. Sweet.
Man, thank you for sending this.
Yeah.
For being with us.
Yeah,
this is so
absolutely.
good.
I've got
Protecting
a
that
guy
family
that I
time.
interviewed about a week ago. I'm hopefully releasing an episode this week. Leo DeCesaris. He is the owner of Cerrone's.
Oh, yeah.
No.
He just won that.
He's the world pizza champion.
He is the world pizza chef.
So I interviewed him, and when he was in Vegas, I did a little Zoom with him just for a story on the news that night.